In society today, we are being attacked constantly with inauthentic conversations. Fakeness, trying to look cool, trying to be somebody we're not. That is why the Damn Dude podcast is here to have the authentic conversations that need to be had in a way that will make you think and say, Damn Dude.
Damn Dude.
What up, everybody? What is good? Welcome to the Damn Dude podcast.
Damn Dude. Damn Dude.
This is season 6, episode 3, and I'm your host, California Cal. And this show exists to help educate, entertain, and make an impact on the different contexts and perspectives that we have in life. Because I truly believe that the more access we have to different contexts and perspectives, the easier, smoother, cooler, and just flat out doper life is. Yeah, dig? This is a show where we have the conversations that need to be had in a way that'll make you think and say, damn, dude.
Damn, dude.
So, essentially, the premise of the show is based off authenticity. I'm nobody special. I'm just the host and the facilitator for this. And anything that you get out of this, if you do, that's awesome. I'm happy. And that's what we're here for, right? So, first of all, I want to say happy 9th birthday to my little man, Fordie Ford. Fordie. Fred. Happy birthday, little man. Love you, dude. Growing up into such a cool, freaking human, kid, adult, however you want to say that. But yeah, man, we got some good topics today. There's a lot been going on. A lot of things been moving. Business picking up, things are shifting. We're on the upswing. For the last little while, I'm sure you guys have noticed I've kind of been on a downswing of things in life and things just deconstructing and falling apart and the whole nine, right? What is the whole nine? The whole 9 yards? The whole 9... the 9th hole on the golf course. What is the whole 9? Where do we get that from? Whoop-de-whoop-de-woo, this, that, and the third. I was saying I love when I hear my gangster homies say that or some version of that. It always cracks me up. But yeah, so we got a whole array of cool things to be talking about here. We're going to be talking about healing stuff with our parents, and talking about weed, talking about relationship stuff, talking about how to tell if your lady is not interested or is interested but is losing interest and is on kind of like a last-ditch effort to get your undivided attention, and a few other important things. So first off, I want to say this is a very important topic, and I see this subject essentially run people's lives in this way. It runs in the background and they don't even realize it's happening as it's happening, which is when we don't heal stuff with our parents, meaning when we can't let them exist as they are, regardless of what they did or didn't do to or for us.
Damn.
All right, sorry, I realized I just got cut off, accidentally bumped to the cable, which disconnected the audio source on my microphone. So anyways, what I was saying was, when we don't heal the things, regardless of whatever our parents have done or not done for us, we carry that weight, we carry that resentment. And I feel like a lot of people feel like they're at peace with their parents, but aren't actually. And I feel like how you can tell is in how you speak on things that happened from your childhood. And again, I'm no expert. I'm just a person with some observations, and I share my experiences and my collective knowledge of things I've learned, studied, and observed. But when you hear people say, yeah, but they just, and it's like, well, that's a sign that there's some healing to do. When you have resentment, when you have to sum your parents up as like, oh, they're like this, they're like that. It's like, okay, that's fine, but not to everybody. You know what I mean? And that's a hard thing to accept as we grow older and become and are adults and become adults and all of that is like, dude, your parents, even if everything they did was complete ass, or they just weren't there, or they were terrible people, they were abusers of some sort, the quicker we can get to peace about that and let them exist as they are, the quicker we have freedom in ourselves. Yeah, but my parents, da-da-da, but my parents did this, but my parents did that. It's like, okay, fair enough. We're not discounting the trauma you were left with. We're not discounting or undermining or just skipping over any of that. More so, where I'm coming from with all of this is a level of extreme ownership about it. And why is that even important is because the more that we can own and accept, the more transformation begins to happen. You know what I'm saying? And it's not about like undermining or minimizing it or skipping over it. It's about transformation and transforming the quality of our life. Because if we just have what we have, life can be cool. You know what I mean? Some of us had really good upbringings. Some of us didn't. Some of us had it right in the middle. And regardless of what it is, we're all still humans and we're all still growing up and we all still have a quality of life that we deserve. And if we're gonna take a look at the quality of life, it starts with our relationship to ourselves. Well, how do you begin a better relationship with yourself? Like in any better way than healing a relationship with the people who created yourself, your parents. You know what I mean? And it's like, when people aren't grateful for their parents, regardless of how their parents are, what they did or didn't do, whether you agree or disagree about everything in life or some things or whatever, they still brought us here. If it wasn't for them, you wouldn't even be able to be mad at the very thing that you're mad at. You get what I'm saying? Like, you get the depth of that? And this was like a long, hard lesson for me to learn. Like, I used to have so much like anger, resentment, or just kind of like skipped over, like, oh, ha, 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 just kind of laugh it off until people are like, no, that's a big thing that you lived with or dealt with or didn't have or whatever. Like, and I don't know, it's just kind of interesting. Like, I always thought I had like a really cool upbringing, and I did, and I definitely did, but it was definitely unique in relation to like the average person I talk to, or people who had like a good childhood or things like that. Like, I'll often explain how like I didn't have lunch money to go to school, or I didn't get rides to school, or little things like that. And it's kind of like people like sometimes are just bewildered when they hear that. Like, what do you mean you didn't get lunch money? I'm like, oh yeah, that's why I had to steal food, or why I had to do this or that or whatever. And it's like, okay, it is what it is. I'm not mad about it, but that was the case for not always. Sometimes I had lunch money, but that's what I'm saying. It's not always, but it's easy to make. You could have had you could have not gotten lunch money like twice, and then as a child you interpret that as like, my parents never gave me lunch money. I'm not saying my parents never gave me lunch money, but I'm saying more often than not I did not have lunch money. There was definitely like long periods or years of school or whatever where that was the case, and it is what it is, dude. I'm not mad because my parents were doing the best that they could do. And the same way that like, no matter what your parents did or didn't do, it cannot be perfect. The same way you and I are you listening to this, me talking about this, the same way that you and I are doing our best, it's not fucking perfect. We can always do better. You know what I mean? But like, dude, we can't move past a certain point of like fulfillment in life if we don't heal the things with our parents. And again, what I mean by that is allowing them to be who they are. And I shared a message like this on Instagram and Facebook, and a lot of people came back with, well, yeah, like my parents were like fucked up, so I can love you from over here. I love them from a distance. And sometimes that's what it takes. You know what I mean? But here's the thing is, if you say that, does that mean do you actually mean that? Will you let them be the abusers from over there, and you can still be at peace with yourself and your upbringing regardless of what they did? Right? But it's like, okay, well, to get to that takes a level of extreme ownership, and it's like, that's what it takes from what I've seen just time and time and in my own personal experience, is a level of extreme ownership to get yourself to the next level, to break through to the next level of fulfillment, happiness, to break through the next level of pain. And I had somebody ask me like, okay, like you're just dumbing this down and this is oversimplified and you're not a therapist and you're not a psychologist and all this. And I'm like, okay, like, well, that's fine. I've never claimed to be, but I'm just sharing my opinion and my experience. And he's like, but it's like, well, it's not just that easy. If you do that, you're like over simplifying and just kind of skipping over it and almost like implying that it's denial. And I'm like, no. This is the opposite of denial. This is like fully owning it. And the how to do so, at least in my personal experience and the people that I know, is sitting through ceremonies. I went and worked with different tribes people in the Amazon and Hawaii, and I sat with plant medicines, and I've even gone to different therapy. I don't include therapy into that for me because that didn't really do anything for me, to be honest. It did feel good to share things, but it didn't really like make anything actually different in my gut and heart and soul in the way I was relating to my parents. Other things that work tremendously are like personal development classes, personal development podcasts, books, having conversations with people, meditating, praying. Those things work for me. And they work for a lot of other people I know too. But without the part of the extreme ownership, it's all just information. If we don't own that I am holding my parents to this degree, this is who they are to me, rather than like, oh, this is a human. That's just who they are. No matter what they do or don't do. And as soon as I got this for myself, like my relationship with my dad changed so dramatically in a positive way. And like my dad and I always like, I would never say we like extremely didn't get along. But there was times where it's just like I had a lot of resentment, and I feel like he didn't really like understand who I was, what I was doing. I always thought and felt like he thought whatever I was doing was kind of like dumb, irresponsible, immature, crazy, weird. And I held that mirror back at him. So rather than kind of letting him get into my world in a way that's like peaceful and mature, I would have to hold this mirror back of, look, you think I'm crazy, you think I'm dumb, you think I'm immature, blah, 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 blah. And he doesn't even know that's happening as I'm doing it because it's just my inner resentment because I'm not letting him be him. I'm like holding this like shield up. And it's like, even he could be being completely cool and I'm like bouncing it all back at him. And it's like, when somebody's being cool to you or just talking to you and not being mean, and you sit there with the shield up and you bounce everything back to them, that shit's irritating. Now you are the irritating individual doing that, bouncing everything back to them. And as soon as I realized, I was like, oh, fuck, this is on me, dude. My dad is just who my dad is. Whoa, okay. Well, wait a minute. Who the hell is my dad actually then? Because I'm sitting here thinking my dad is somebody who just thinks I'm fucking crazy, irresponsible, whatever. This whole list of just shit that I believed, right? And because it's a belief, beliefs are able to be changed. Beliefs are able to be tuned. Beliefs are able to be manipulated and learned through, right? So that's where I'm like, holy shit. It doesn't even have to be like that. And like with my mom, we've kind of always just naturally gotten along in a much smoother fashion. It's always just been way easier. And I mean, that's just how it's been for me, right? Like, obviously there's things where I would get into it with my mom or we would have disagreements or whatever, right? But when I got that for myself, I'm like, oh shit, I could apply this to not just my dad, but to my mom, now to any friends or relatives or whatever. I don't have to hold them to this like weird standard that they don't even know about. And even if I try to let them know about it, they're not going to fully get it. It's like, this is what I think and would advise is like, who cares what they think of you? If you're like upset about what you say and they don't receive it in the way you want it received, you're just dropping an expectation on them. And when you drop expectations on people, it makes people irritated. It makes people talk in a way that they don't want to talk. It puts people into a conversation they don't want to have in a way they don't want to have. So through ownership of like, damn, I'm holding up this like secret mirror to them and shield and whatever. And in turn, what happens is they're like, well, I don't accept your bullshit. So they bounce it right back at your dumbass. Right? And not I don't mean that offensively. I mean, it's like, no, like we're being dumb if we're doing that, right? But a lot of times we don't know we're doing it. So that's what I'm getting at is like, dude, if we can take ownership of our own mirror, what we reflect back, shit begins to transform. You know what I'm saying? Because like, dude, and let's say your parents are full of shit and they are being mean and they are being unfair and they're just lighting your ass up, and you mirror back understanding and love and patience, and you're mirroring back, okay, you can say whatever you want. I get it's because you're trying to express something to me. Now something starts transforming. You know what I mean? Rather than just mirroring back, you're irritating. You're always trying to tell me what to do. Well, you didn't do this for me. You didn't do this for me. You did do this. You did too much of this. You did too little of this. Right? So it's like, dude, the quicker we can let our parents be humans and not let them be the physical representation of personal attack.
Damn, dude.
Shit starts happening, dude. Shit starts moving. Transformation starts happening. And I say this through experience and through a lot of resistance. Like when I went and did Landmark as a personal development course I did before, one of the homework assignments was to call your parents and thank them and forgive them and create a new level of peace with them. And I skipped that whole part of the fucking homework, dude. I was just like, we're good and blah, blah, blah. And just assume. I just put assumption in every direction. I assumed we're good. I assumed what's bad or was unfavorable was just unfavorable. And we're just going to leave it at that. And there's nothing to heal through and da-da-da-da-da-da. Not realizing I took that stance because I was holding this, well, that's who they are sort of thing up to them. And it took me till years later to be like, oh, fuck. It was out in the jungle in Peru when I finally got it. I'm like, oh, shit. Everything my parents did for me was because it was like they thought what was best. They were never trying to sabotage me or like set me up for failure or anything. They were doing the best they could with what they had. And then in turn, I'm doing my best with what I can with what I have. And I think that's what everybody's trying to do. And once you realize like your coworker is just doing that, you realize your boss is just doing that, you realize your teacher's just doing that, you realize your schoolmates are just doing that. They're all doing the best they can. Because here's the fascinating thing is that let's say you're at work and you've got coworkers, or you're at school and you've got colleagues, other students, right? Classmates. Those people that you like who are your classmates or your coworkers, a good handful of them are going to be parents who fucked up their kid's life according to their kids. Let that sink in, dude. Like, all of us, our peers, are people who are fucking our kids up. I feel like I'm doing a damn good job raising my kids, but I'm definitely fucking shit up. I don't necessarily know how yet. We'll find out when they grow up and see what stories that they have or don't have about me and like all of us as parents, right? So that's when we really know. It's like, if you just assume no, I'm doing fucking perfect, my kids are, it's like, well, you don't know that. And I think when parents kind of get comfortable and like, I'm just doing my best, it's like, well, that's it. That's literally it. You could be doing your best in last place in a race. That doesn't mean you still can't fucking pass people and do a little bit better than your best. Right? It's like, dude, you should be trying to lap yourself. You get what I'm saying? It's like, in parenting or just being a good person, we should be trying to lap ourselves. It's like, okay, well, last year me, I'm going to pass that motherfucker up. And this year me, I'm going to pass that motherfucker up too. And I'm going to keep passing myself up in a sense of like, I'm going to keep doing so good at this race of life that I'm in. You know? So that's why I think it's so important to let them exist. Sometimes you have to let them exist over there and you don't interact on a regular basis or ever. But the thing is, I think if you actually let somebody be who they are, you would never take the stance of, well, I'm never going to talk to them again. That doesn't mean you know what I mean? Like, I think being at peace means like you can fully not like somebody and be at peace with them and still have love. You know what I mean? So that's just my personal take. That comes from the perspective of love all. I have love for all beings on this planet, good or bad. Why? Because you guys they're all the people who've done terrible things in this world are what make this world. And however you want to put your belief system on, like, oh, well, God created like molesters and rapists and whatever. It's like, well, I don't know if he did directly or not, but something puts that darkness into our space where it exists. And I believe that that stuff is here for us to learn from and give us perspective. You know, it's like, it's kind of like the example of like, well, if there was no darkness, you wouldn't appreciate light. And if there was no light, you wouldn't appreciate dark. And if there was no hot, you wouldn't appreciate cold. And if there was no cold, you wouldn't appreciate hot, and so on. So like, that's my kind of overall arching belief system, is that like, all right, there's shit that's here for like, to help us fine tune our judgment. You know, it's like, okay, just because all that weird shit's not in my world, that doesn't mean that there's not something I can't learn from it or be able to empathize with others who are victims of it, or, you know, even have the understanding that the people who do these terrible things often were taught that in some fucked up way. It's like what's unspoken in the darkness is just like oozing around. And when you bring light to it, now we're able to bring a new life to it. So that's my overall like context. And I think that kind of perfectly ties us into our next topic, which is to quit talking about what you're sick of. I see so many people this day and age. It's definitely more common to hear and see people talk about and reshare online what they're sick of and what they're fed up with and what it is that they despise and they hate and fuck this guy and fuck that and all of these things that they literally can't do anything about. And if you guys are familiar with me and my philosophy and the show, you know that like I'm a big proponent of, dude, if you can't do anything about it, quit fucking talking about it. You are literally being the promoter of this bullshit. You know what I mean? And it's like people will be like, oh, the White House or the presidential luncheon shooting and the fucking bombing this and that and da-da-da. I'm like, I'm out of the loop because what the fuck am I going to do other than promote this war? Or whatever the fuck you want to call it, right? I'm not going to be the promoter of war. I'm going to be the promoter of like working on self and creating a better life because that's within my realm and my world. Now, if I really wanted to go to war about these things, then I better go sign my ass up. I better go get a gun and go somewhere with it. I better go do something like that. But that's not what I'm up to. That's not what I'm put here for. Some people are. Some people were born to go to fucking war. Some people were not. Right? And like for myself and my like spiritual belief and reflection of myself, I am a warrior of the light. Like I fight for what's good by doing good. I'm not here to fight for the evil shit or fight against evil shit. I'm here to just create more good and more light and more positivity the best I can. Again, I'm not fucking perfect. And in hindsight, there's always something else you could have done better, whatever, da 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 da. But it's like, who fucking cares? Just use that data for when you go for your next attempt. You know, it's not to be dwelled on or anything like that. So I see so many people just keep talking about negative shit and negative shit and negative shit and negative shit. And it's like, okay, and you wonder why you're unhappy. Oh, I can't stand the society. I can't stand the world we live in. Gas costs this and CNN and ABC and Jon Stewart and Donald Trump. It's like, okay, bro, like, we got it, dude. Like, now what? Now what? Okay, now what? We need to blah, blah, blah. It's like, then go fucking do it, bro. What the fuck what are you doing? You know, it's like, it's so ridiculous. And then it's like, you got people on the other end of that, which are are a harder nut to crack in the sense of living in distraction. And this actually ties in perfectly to my next topic, but living in distraction, people won't look at the bad stuff or the good stuff and just kind of just exist in this world of distraction. My sports team. Oh, my shitty job. Oh, my sports team. Oh, my shitty job. Oh, fucking Snyder told Klavic to pass the third and caught the fucking... And fucking Hubert told Gonzalez and... It's just like the same shit. And there's nothing wrong with being a sports fan. But when you base your whole life around it, that's not living your life to the fullest. And not everybody cares. And that's also fine. That's up to them to live however you want to live. That's fine, right? But if you're going to be unhappy and go bitch about shit, then it's not fine. Because clearly you're not okay. You know, and like, what I see is so many people living in some version of some distraction. I'm guilty of it too. I scroll through fucking Instagram, Facebook. I see a bunch of weird shit I don't necessarily, or I definitely don't need to be knowing about. You know what I mean? It's like, for the fact that I know canned Merc, potted Merc, no Merc, syrup or waffles, jelly, no jelly. For the fact I know about that, I know about fucking like Ben Azula and Wes Watson and what's happening with these people. It's just like, okay, I've entered the world of the rot and the distractions and all this other shit, you know? And it's like, I'm like, okay, at least I'm like seeing it, you know? And it is what it is, right? Like, it's a lot of this shit is just, I mean, it's real in somebody's world. And I do my best to make those things not a part of my world and just and focus back on creating my own content and being a content creator rather than a content consumer. Because to me, if I don't like the conversations that are on the internet, if I don't like the conversations that are on TV or what are shows, let's just say, then I should create my own content in which I like. And then the conversations around my content are geared around the topics that I'm speaking on. You know what I mean? So it's like, I think that's how you break that loop, is you create your own content, you create your own topics that you want to talk about, and then you just start talking about those things more. And if they're good, they're good. You know, so like, again, living in distraction, that leads me to the next topic, which is this one's gonna, okay, a lot of people who listen to this show are on the path of transformation and doing good and better in life. The people kind of who I'm describing, I feel like don't really listen to the show, but there's something we can all get out of this, which is, again, the depth of what I'm saying applies to any sort of situation. It's not just the topic I'm using. But what I've observed is that if you're, okay, speaking to men, if your lady is overly interested in your sports shit, in your draft, in your pick, in your, I don't know what else to call this stuff, in your league, and you're this and you're that, I don't believe she's actually interested in it. And I think that that is a huge flag being waved right in front of your face. It's strobe lights going off like, hey, 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 hey. Now, it might feel good that she's giving you this attention because she's not giving you this attention when you're talking about or doing other things. So why am I saying this? Because the way I see this is when your woman gets interested and involved in your weird stuff like that, it is a huge, desperate, drastic way to call for your attention, your undivided attention. Because what's happening is you're giving Hubert and Humbleman and whoever, right? Like all these sports names. That's what that is when I do that. You're giving them and your draft pick and your da-da-da and your undivided attention. Your lady sees that and is like, oh, my man can do undivided attention? No way, I need in on this. So now your lady starts talking about Humphrey and Bogart and Humphrey Bogart and Chocolies and Betterman and Goodall and whoever, right? And now you're giving her undivided attention because she's saying these other men's names. Sus. Anyways, joke. Kind of. But now you're saying all these other men's names, or she's saying all these other men's names, and now she's got your undivided attention. But do you really think she wants your undivided attention through the means of you fangirling, or I should say fanboying out about these athletes, these people you don't know? The same way, it's like, do you think your kids really want to see you represent another man's last name to the highest degree? And like, yeah, we ride for this fool. It's like, you don't know him. He doesn't know you. It's fine to be a fan, but there's a line that gets crossed. And my point with this is like, dude, that is a desperate cry for help. And sometimes, and oftentimes, it's that neither party is aware that that's what it is. It's just, like I said, I'm just some regular dude with observations. It's the observation of like, hey, give me some undivided attention. Hey, talk to me with this much enthusiasm. Hey, give me this much focus. Because now they know you can do it. And if you're not going to do that on a personal level, I can almost guarantee you're not like giving it to your lady how she really wants it. I can almost guarantee that you're not satisfying her in the ways she needs to be satisfied. And I'm not saying just sexually. I'm saying like conversationally, intentionally, undivided attention, feeling special, feeling like she's your number one, not the fucking sports team's your number one. You know what I mean? Because when that sports team wins a ring, you don't win a ring. When your lady wins a ring, you also win a ring. You know what I'm saying? And that's the example. So I think when that happens, men, like, wake up, because a lot of these women, this day and age, and this one's more so for the sake of documenting this historically, is that in this day and age, 2026, there are so many women right now who would rather share a man with another woman who will give undivided attention, full energy, full authority in who they are, the man giving them whole self. There's more women willing to leave who they're with and share a man with another woman in a way that they're all fucking cool with it. And I'm telling you, dude, like, if you're going to lose your woman to not just another guy, but to another woman and another guy, it's happening more than I've ever seen. Unless this is just something that I've just been too young to ever notice. I don't think it is. Like, when you're young, you don't notice all the politics and all this other weird shit. Like, but that's what's happening in this day and age. There's so many women who are so sick of their lame ass dude. And I say lame in the sense of not able to have any masculinity, not have any healthy masculinity, not have any pretty much testosterone in this day and age with everything we're given and our conditioning and all of that. I'm telling you, so many women would rather just share one solid dude than to just have one moderately wimpy dude who can't pay attention and blah, 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 blah. It's not cutting it. I'm seeing this all over. And that's the day we're living in. I don't know where this is going to go from here, honestly, but like, if you're like a solid masculine dude, it's easier than ever for you to like have a down ass, badass chick, because a lot of these girls are waking up and being like, man, fuck this, dude. This is weird. Like, I would have been better off just being with a girl. And that's just real, dude. It's like, it's really crazy out here, man. So if you're solid, like, shit's just going to work out for you. If you're on all this other distraction lifestyle, it's not going to work out very well. Your feelings are going to hurt. Like, don't let your feelings get hurt and your relationship end to start going to the gym, to start reading books, to start learning shit. You know what I mean? That's essentially it, because that's kind of the common thing in America is, oh, my girl left me, I'm starting going to the gym. It's like, well, did you ever consider that maybe, like, obviously not just directly the gym, but like maybe in some fashion that's kind of why that happened, you know? And I could see in times in my own relationship where I get lazy or I get off track or I get distracted or I'm not taking care of myself like I should. It shows up in my lady like pretty quickly, not in some direct like sort of way, but like in a like deep like attraction sort of way. And that equals happiness, and that equals fun, and that equals being expressive and all of those sorts of things. So I just encourage anyone who's listening to this to really like think about that and take that on as much as you can, because I know a lot of men who have undergone the process of being a transformed man and continuously transforming who they are in a good way. And I don't mean being fake or like this bullshit alpha male thing. I'm just like saying in a very authentic way, like learning and getting better, learning and getting better. Just take note, you know? Like, because it's not about being the alpha or top dog, or it's more so just about like being the best version of yourself. And the best version of yourself gets to fit in wherever. You know what I mean? So it's like, dude, don't even trip on comparison or whatever. It's just a matter of like, okay, how do I be the best version of myself? Now let's do that. Because your lady wants the best version of you. Your family wants the best version of you. You want the best version of you. You know, and I think, again, to kind of like tie this all together in a sense is like, dude, when you can accept that your parents are human and they're flawed and they're just who they are, the quicker you get to be the best version of yourself, because that's not hanging over your head anymore, and you're now free to create rather than spend your time blaming or wallowing or wondering why or this or that. You know, it's just kind of like, okay, that's what happened. Acceptance and ownership. So the last thing I want to talk about here is weed. I hear a lot of people talk, and I used to subscribe to this big time, which is, man, I can't eat or sleep without smoking weed. And I shared a post about this, which is like, saying that is like saying, well, I can't work out because I don't have my gloves. It's like, what? That's just like a weird dependency that you grew on this oddball thing that really isn't the point. I can't work out without my pre-workout. Oh, I didn't have my shake. I didn't have my... It's like, so you just can't do it now? It's all canceled because you didn't have that? It's kind of weird. Like, that's not where the marker should be. Let's move this marker a little bit. And that just equals some dependency on something that's like, that's not the point. And putting a dependency on something that's not the point is never a good way to be the best version of ourselves. You know? Now, for myself, I'm more in a state of my identity is shifting to I am not a pothead. Because I'm down to smoke every now and then, if it's kind of more ceremoniously, if it's like a special fun occasion, if I'm really using it for medicine, if my headache is just beyond, stuff like that. It's like, okay, that's what this is supposed to be used for. The same way it's like, okay, I had a headache and I took Tylenol, so now I'm going to take Tylenol every single day so that way I don't get a headache. It's like, no, that's the wrong use, dude. Like, you're supposed to just kind of like use the medicine for when it's needed medicinally. So that's been the shift that I've had with weed, marijuana, however you want to call it. And it feels good because it doesn't control or rule my life or dictate anything that I do anymore. Like before, it was like I would use it to just feel normal. And that's the wrong use. That's taking Tylenol every day. It's weird, you know? It doesn't even make sense. So when you kind of swap out something else like Tylenol or ibuprofen or whatever, you start realizing, oh, that's weird. And I don't know what it is exactly that like made that for me. I guess I just saw myself. Well, I guess I do. Thinking about it, it's like I saw myself running the same patterns and same stories over and over and over. And that equaled being like, oh, I'm tired of this. This is lame. Like, I'm tired. Like, what's lame and what I'm tired of is running that same thing over and over. So to be able to break free from that identity-wise, I'm able to stand in, like, a more refreshed and improved identity for myself that I believe, and be able to work from there. So I'm not saying if you smoke, quit, blah, 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 blah. I'm not saying anything. I'm just sharing my experience and kind of describing that dependency, because all day I can justify why I deserve to smoke at the end of the night. And I could set up cues for myself all day long to justify smoking at the end of the day. And it was just too easy. And that was like the cycle I caught myself in. And I'm like, oh, shit, dude. Okay, I see it. And then I started seeing it in others. And then that started confirming what I was believing and thinking about myself and my cycle. And I'm like, oh, got it. Okay, let's break this chain, you know? So, and the reason it was so hard for me to get there was because I was still very productive as a pothead. I still created business. I still help a lot of people. I still could be present with my family and people and all of that. And it's like, well, it's not all the way. This could be better. How do I improve on this? Because I just kept mirroring back to myself, oh, this is how I am. This is what's good. This is what I like. Well, you know what? When you're a little kid and you like Ninja Turtles or you like Sesame Street, that's cool. But when you grow up and you're 20, you don't want to be, that's not what you should be liking. That's not what you should be into. So it's like the belief system of I need to upgrade what it is that I like. And as we get older, we kind of get complacent. Oh, I'm growing up. This is what I like. Well, realize after 10 years goes by, 15 years, 20 years, that's being from 1 years old to 20 years old. You shouldn't be into the same thing. It should keep upgrading. I'm not saying you still can't be a fan of whatever that is, or you still can't be into it. But if we're not going to upgrade it or at least look at it, then we're kind of off course, I believe. So that's my take. That's what I have experienced and believe is my responsibility to share these insights and lessons. You dig? So, with that being said, this is season 6, episode 3, the Damn Dude podcast. I'm your host, California Cal. I appreciate you guys. I love you guys. Let's hit that outro song.
90 miles push away, and I don't wanna be here for days. And we'll serve like 38. Now the sun touches your face, not the beach, not the you. And the last one to be us too.
And it's gonna be me and you.
Damn, dude.
Damn, dude.
I love you guys. I appreciate you guys. Thank you for tuning in. And please be sure to tell a friend, 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 to tell your best friends, cousins, uncles, chalk manufacturing sidewalk artist extraordinaire who happens to sell candy door to door about the Damn Dude freaking podcast. You dig? Love you guys. Appreciate you guys. Have a beautiful day. Much love. Peace.